At any minute, sometime tonight, we will find out what's going to happen with Darren Wilson in Ferguson.
We don't know that.
We don't know for sure, but it could drop at any minute.
Yeah,
I suppose it could be over the weekend. But obviously, we're expecting that news at some point, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen once that news is released. But we do have some information about what other groups are expecting or preparing for. And the first is the Ferguson police force. We have some stats on their expenditures over the course of the past few months in anticipation of this announcement. Since the height of the protest, the department has spent almost $25,000 buying 650 tear gas grenades, smoke and gas grenades, smoke canisters, and Hornet's Nest CS sting grenades, which shoot out dozens of rubber bullets and a powdered chemical agent upon detonation. It has spent a further $18,000 on 1,500 beanbag rounds and 6,000 pepper balls, paintball-style projectiles that explode with a chemical irritant. The department uses Livex-branded pepper balls, which are billed as 10 times hotter than standard pepper rounds. Another $77,500 has been spent on 235 riot gear helmets, 135 shields, 25 batons, and 60 sets of shin guards and other uniform items. A further $2,300 was used to buy another 2,000 sets of the plastic handcuffs that have been used to detain dozens of demonstrators. And so that's the police force, but we also know that the average everyday citizen in that area has been preparing possibly lethal force as well. Here's one example of that.
Handcuffs cost like $1? Like that's actually a pretty good
plastic.
deal. That's a pretty good deal.
That is a pretty good deal.
And you buy in bulk.
Yeah.
Business at Metro Shooting Supplies has been double the normal amount on many days in the past few weeks, and owners estimate that up to 75% of those customers have been first-time gun owners. So
Metro Shooting Supplies.
It's a gun store in that
obviously,
area.
I don't know anything about guns, but like what other supplies are there? There's the gun, there's the bullets. That's a holster.
holsters,
A holster.
clips, I suppose, sights,
that counts as bullets.
stocks. There's other things as well. Stocks.
Well,
And socks as well. Camo socks.
I broke into my house. I was going to shoot him, but I was barefoot, so he robbed the place. Raped my
what's
wife.
really funny
Bill Cosby.
is what's really funny is that the kids who graduated from the Ferguson High School had to share cap and gowns because they didn't have money for them. Isn't that
we
funny?
can afford the grenades and the
Oh,
grenade launchers,
we could have bought you a cap and gown, but we had to buy a gun to shoot you. Welcome to America, Blackie.
I saw on Twitter before that I guess school in Ferguson is going to be canceled on Monday and Tuesday already. So we think this decision's coming tonight, but it could, I guess, come. Maybe it can come over the weekend.
They met today. Then there's also this interesting story, and again, this is just speculative, and then we're going to find out. We don't need to guess whether he's going to be indicted in a sense, because we're going to find out when he's indicted or not. But let's guess a little bit, because CNN broke a story last night. Really, they're the only ones who've had it. That he is in talks to resign, Darren Wilson. Yeah. And it's I've read the story many times. I've read updated version.
Usually when CNN breaks a story, they've broken it.
And then we put it back together. That's how it works.
I mean, they've got about as many viewers now as the Knitting Channel. You know, I think their slogan is, "Hey, it's 1984, and even Big Brother isn't watching."
But you're saying that you think that means that he's not going to be indicted.
The theory was that he wouldn't resign if he was indicted, because it would seem that it might be seen as an admission of guilt. The flip side is if you're an indicted police officer, you can't work. You probably should resign and devote yourself to clearing your name. Yeah. But these talks could break through. Others thought he just was going to wait to resign until the decision came through. He didn't want to resign while the grand jury was out, because that would look like an admission of guilt. But once the grand jury decision is in.
It has more to do with if he resigns, he doesn't get legal representation from the union for free. So as long as he's on the force, he gets legal representation for free. And as soon as he resigns, he no longer gets that legal representation. So that's what this is all about. So if he's indicted, he will not resign. If he's not indicted, he will resign.
Yeah, okay, so that's I hadn't read that. Well, but that's interesting.
So come from a long line of cops.
So if he's in a position to resign, that would indicate that he thinks that, and we know this. We've read enough places that he and his lawyer think they're not going to get indicted.
And of course, there could be a surprise. He could be wrong. And now many people
know. They also might be spinning it. I mean, they have every reason to spin it.
Yeah.
So.
Many people are expecting that there could theoretically be violence both in that area and possibly around the country. Obviously, we hope that doesn't happen. But it's been fairly amazing in the media over the course week or two how enthusiastically right-wingers seem to be spinning the possibility of violence and trying to.
Let me just make a point, because it's relevant to what CNN is reporting. If a grand jury decision comes Friday, prosecutors are expected to provide law enforcement with 48 hours notice before making the announcement. announcement on Sunday, so we might not get an announcement till Sunday. And if they wait till Sunday or Monday, they're just trying to, just as an added benefit, if they don't indict him, just to fuck up every black person's Thanksgiving.
That's an interesting theory. But I do want to play a couple of the clips because obviously Fox News has been talking a lot about this. And their theories about who will be responsible if there is violence is incredibly interesting. First, here is Sean Hannity speaking to one of their correspondents, David Webb.
The president has weighed in on this. Eric Holder's weighed in multiple times, even this week. My question is, they weighed in without hearing any of the evidence in this case. Didn't they create in the minds of some people that a specific decision would be reached here? And if that doesn't occur, aren't they responsible for creating that expectation and whatever violence may happen as a result?
Yeah, when you talk about the bully pulpit that the president or the attorney general has, they do have a megaphone that magnifies the situation on.
So there you have him speaking to David Webb. They also, by the way, I love that they brought Mark Furman on to speak about this. That's just
John,
amazing.
In all fairness, the only reason they brought him on was because David Duke was not available.
Exactly, he's busy. Prior commitment. He was doing a podcast. So why don't we get a little bit more from that? I believe we're going to hear Mark Furman here as well.
Last question for both of you. It's a yes or no answer. If, God forbid, something happens, and I pray it doesn't, does the president and Eric Holder, do they bear some culpability in whipping people's minds up here? We'll start with you, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think, David?
Absolutely.
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
Yes, they do.
So very clear there. And look, we played Tom Coburn yesterday. We don't have time to get to it, but we had Louis Gohmert saying that both Holder and Obama are responsible, and the police, the people in that region have this stupid grievance against the police, and how dare they do that? Like, they are so hoping that there will be anarchy so they can try to blame it on Obama, which is of course ridiculous.
I can't remember how many times Mark Furman used the N-word. Was it more than 10 or was it more than 50? I can't remember.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but context matters. There he was talking about the police beating gang members in back alleys.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes he wasn't, but he was always talking about black people, though, wasn't
Yes,
he? Yeah.
he was.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure. Go ahead, put that guy on TV. Part of the team that messed up due to their own bungling incompetence. Really, one of the easiest prosecutions you could imagine. Yeah.